Right, hello, welcome to our one of our last days of introducing story elements. So we have gone over all the elements of story elements. So today we're going to go over and review them. And today for our homework, it's going to be all of them. We're going to go through it on an IXL standard. So let's again take out our notes and check our notes as we continue with our 5 story elements. We have our characters. Sorry, I was waiting for it to pop up. Our characters are the people or animals that act in the story. The most important characters are our main characters. The story is about them and it follows them. And then also our setting is where and when the story takes place. Remember, it can be more than one because our story isn't just going to be at one place all the time. All right, but sometimes stories do stay in one place the whole time. Our plot is the events that happen in the story. So it happens in the beginning, in the middle, in the end. It's the events that happen. And when we tell the plot, we tell it in the order that events happen. Because if we tell what happens at the end, and then what happens at the beginning, and then what happens in the middle, it's going to confuse the people that we're talking to. So our plot is the order of events, what happens in the story. And then our problem is something that goes wrong in our story. It goes wrong for the characters, and something has to be fixed or changed. So remember, when there is a problem, that means the characters are going to have to do something to fix it. And when they fix that problem, we call it our solution. It is how the problem in the story is solved. So at the beginning, usually we're introduced to our characters and our setting, and then throughout the whole story we see our plot, but most of the events are in the middle. Same with our problem. It's usually introduced in the middle, and then at the end we see our solution, how they fix the problem. So today, since we do have an IXL standard, our homework is going to be a little longer, so we're going to read a short story today, and then we're going to apply the story of the elements to that story, and then we'll go over our homework. So it is a very short story. It's just one page, but it is about the lion and the mouse, so you might know this story. So once there was a mouse who happened to run into a lion, who caught the mouse and was just about to eat him when the mouse begged for the lion to let him go. "Please, if you let me go, I shall be forever grateful." The mouse was so small and pitiful that the lion laughed when he thought what a tiny mouthful the mouse would be. And so the lion let the mouse go. Not long after, the lion was caught in a net made of strong rope that some hunters had put out. He roared and roared, and guess who heard him? The mouse. "Well, Mr. Lion," the mouse said, "when you laughed at how small I was, I guess you had no idea that someday I could help you." And with that, the mouse gnawed through the rope and set the lion free. So that's our small story today, a very nice story. But now let's talk about the elements of the story that we just read. The first thing we're going to talk about is the characters. Who was in this story? So our characters were the mouse and the lion. They're our main characters because the whole story followed them. And without them in the book, it wouldn't be the mouse and the lion story. So they're our main characters. That's who the story was about. But now, where did the story take place? They didn't say where, but we can use context clues to figure out where the story would take place. Where do lions and mice live? They kind of live outside, right? They could live in a forest. They could live in the mountains, maybe. Or I know lions live in the sub-Saharan of Africa. So in the outdoors. So, and we have to remember it's where hunters go. So they're not going to hunt for something in a basement, right? So the lion and the mouse, we can assume it happened outside in more so a foresty area. But they didn't say it, so sometimes we have to figure it out on our own by get the clues in the story. But now let's go over the plot. So remember, the mouse ran into a lion and caught him, and then convinced the lion not to eat him. So that was the first thing that happened. And then the lion got caught by hunters in a net the hunters put out. And the last thing that happened was the mouse helped the lion get out of the net. And notice how these are all in the correct order of how we read the story. So that was our plot. Those are the events that happened in our story. Now let's go over the problem. The problem was the lion got stuck in a net. And that's a pretty big problem because the lion couldn't get out. The hunters would have gotten to the lion if the mouse didn't help out. So what was our solution? After the lion yelled and yelled, who heard him? Our mouse heard him and gnawed the net so that the lion could be set free. So that's how our problem was solved. And remember, our problem means our characters are going to have to get set into action. So that was our problem, and then the mouse came and chewed the net, and our problem was gone. So that's just showing all of our story elements in the story that we read. So as we go on with reading, we'll always go back to these story elements so that we can explain and talk about what we read. So let's go over our homework for today. So the homework that we are going to be doing today, it will take a little longer because we will have to read multiple stories, but we're going to be identifying the story element. So we're going to read a little story, and then we have to answer what's going on. So as we can see, it is going to be a little longer. So I would say take time working on this. If you do need a break, it's okay to say, you know what, I've been working on this for a while, and I've been staring at a screen for a long time, so I'm going to take a break and come back to it. Don't think you have to sit there the whole time. And if you get frustrated, remember, you can always call or message me on Edmodo, and I will help you through. We can set up a Zoom, or over the phone I can help. So what we're going to be doing is reading the story and then answering what is the setting. And we can also go here. Oh, I think you have to answer it first. So I'm not going to read it because I don't want this video to be too long, but take your time. We're going to be going over, they're going to be asking you to identify the setting, the characters, the plot, the problem, and the solution. All right, have fun and do your best.